July the 27th, 2026. And first order of business is discussion and updates regarding correspondence from the Central Texas Water Supply Corporation.
Mayor and Council, the memo in your packet just details a phone conversation with staff had with Lee Kelly, General Manager of Central Texas Water Supply Corporation. After reading an article in the paper, common ownership of a water plant could be beneficial from June 29th, the dispatcher heard Mr. Kelly express an opinion. That opinion kind of detailed as follows. They've made every effort to maintain the Lake Cliff plant. Capital improvements have been made to the Lake Cliff plant. City of Lampasas should modify the current contract to allow for additional capital funds to the Central Texas Water Supply Corporation, meaning we should amend the current contract if we want the plant to be in better shape. City of Lampasas should consider purchase of the Lake Cliff plant, and the Central Texas Water Supply will ensure every measure is taken to remove the leaks to the Corps of Engineers for the property that the plant actually sits on. It was expressed to Mr. Kelly that City of Lampasas is just reviewing all options in terms of treatment and delivery mechanisms to the City of Lampasas. We're not necessarily trying to cut them out, but we are looking at our future, and if the future's not in it, then it's only because we're trying to perform our due diligence and ensuring that we have water for the future. They disagree. They believe their plant is in great shape. They believe it's been maintained very well. At this point in time, staff and consultant opinion also disagrees. Just wanted to relay that information over to council.
Can you tell us what the staff's opinion is on that plant?
Choose more words. The plant's been maintained very well with the amount of money that they're putting into it. I do believe the operators are doing a phenomenal job. I also believe that they haven't spent capital dollars maybe as wisely as they could have when it comes to that plant. But that being said, it's worth mentioning that when we kept our water supply back out of the Lake Cliff plant and built their own in 2010, you could reasonably argue that was to the detriment of Central Texas Water Supply Corporation. They are no longer receiving the funds that they expected to receive pre-2010. So, but no, in short, they say the plant's got 40 years left in it. That's a very conservative number in my opinion. I don't see it. I think it would be very wise to look at our long-term options, whether they're included or they're not. I think it's a smart move in terms of ensuring that we have water in the future. Just make no mistake, we have the water, it's just a treatment and delivery mechanism. The resource itself has been secured. It's just the treatment and delivery mechanism itself. Any questions? Thank you.
Thank you. Discussion regarding any items on the regular session for July the 27th, 2026. No action will be taken during workshop session. Discussion regarding any items not included on the regular session for July the 27th, 2026 for consideration on future agendas. No action can be taken by City Council. There's none. We'll get a motion to adjourn workshop. So moved. Second. All in favor? Aye. And we will call to order. All rise. Let us pray. Dear Heavenly Father, we're grateful to be here tonight. It's a great community with Lampasas. Here at our City Council to discuss some items, take some action, exchange some information, and make some good decisions for the betterment of the entire community. We ask that you be with us. We ask that you watch over us in safety. We ask that you forgive us of our sins. And as always, in Jesus' name we do pray. Amen. Amen. Show me the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to the Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible. Public hearing and citizen comment. Any citizen who desires to address the City Council on a matter not included on the agenda may do so at this time. For possible posting and discussion by council on future agenda, the city council may not deliberate on items presented up underneath this item. And we have Mr. J.R. McBride.
Thank you, Honorable Mayor and Council, for allowing me to visit. I am John McBride, Lampasas, Texas. Lampasas, Texas. My voice today is concerned as my appreciation with the city doing a good job wrapping up an issue that I've been working on for many years. Pardon me. Thank y'all for moving that forward. And I do have a handout today that kind of puts my piece of the puzzle together. If y'all look at that, I know y'all have questions about how difficult it is to figure out all the ins and outs of that situation. The staff did a great job of putting that together. And if we can move forward quickly, better than slowly, I greatly appreciate that. If you have any questions for me about any of that, I'm available to visit, because I know a lot of the little pieces that really matter weren't included in the discovery. And I would have voted the same way y'all did based on the information we have. So, if you have any questions for me now, I'd be happy to address some, not legally or anything, just broad, generalized questions.
What is the topic we're talking about?
The 2014 sealed bid, I know y'all got so much bidding on y'all's hand. I was told the situation was final, to get a lawyer. I've done that. It's in that document. If you cover those documents, it explains my position a lot better. I don't want to have to drag it out here, but I'd like to meet with the city again to see if that position changes theirs any before we escalate to non-communicative status with the legal wranglings that happen. It's not necessary. The volumes speak for themselves. If I'm misreading the information, I absolutely understand. And I just don't want to have to go through a lawyer to get it done. I don't think it's necessary. I think it's a waste of city finance and time. And y'all don't need all that burden. And I don't either, particularly. So I just want to be able to come to some consensus that we're on the same page, because right now we're not. And I just want to remedy that. And I appreciate your time and respect all of y'all. Y'all got tough jobs, and I'm glad you're here. And I'm looking forward to Lampasas moving forward in a big way. And I thank y'all. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Mr. McBride. 1.2, citizens comment. Any citizen who desires to address the city council on a matter that is included on the agenda may do so at this time. And there is none. 2.2, on the consent agenda, discussion and possible action regarding approval of minutes of the regular meeting held on July 13th, 2026. Discussion and possible action regarding approval of minutes of the budget workshop held on July the 8th, 2026. 2.3, discussion and possible actions to approve the second reading of an ordinance to modify the city code of ordinance, chapter 82, utilities, article 6, electricity division 1, generally, and adding division 3, transformers.
Move to approve the consent agenda as read.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
And 3.0 is we have boards and department reports. I think we have Parks and Recreation.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. My name is Libby Tarping. I'm the Parks Administrative Assistant. I'm here to present the Parks and Recreation Department Annual Report for 2026. Our mission statement is, the City of Lampasas Parks Department is committed to enriching the lives of our residents and visitors by maintaining beautiful, safe, and accessible parks. We strive to celebrate the unique charm and natural beauty of Lampasas. We are responsible stewards of our public spaces, fostering a strong sense of place, health, and connection for all. This year, there's been some new changes. Jesse Acosta became our Parks and Recreation Director. Stephen Knowlton, he took over Jesse's job as Parks and Recreation Superintendent. Joshua Palacio is our Cemetery Crew Leader. And Nick Gigley is our Athletic Field Crew Leader. The park crew maintains over 600 acres, the 580 complex, Avenue A Park, Campbell Park and Hannah Pool, the City Hall complex, College Street, the College Street Park, Color School and the New Hope Church, the Cook Cemetery, the Cooper Springs Nature Park, the Gavin Garrett Soccer Complex, the library, the Goodwrench Tennis Course, the Hancock Park Pool and Pavilion, the Head Start and the Senior Center, the Hostess House, the Municipal Airport, the Oak Hill Cemetery, Sue-Ann Park, and the Turner Complex, and W.M. Brook Park. Projects that we have completed in the Parks Department is the new walk trail from the Senior Center to Brook Park Bridge, the shade cover at Brook Park Playground, the way stations were installed, 6 new trees were planted along the new walk trail, a 6x6 concrete was completed at Campbell Park. New globes and bowls fixtures were installed at the Hostess House. Those look really nice. And the concrete repair at the Hancock Pool. Here's the pictures of the projects that we completed in the Parks Department. Projects completed at the Parks facility, there at 580. The 580 complex, 18 lights were repaired on the soccer fields and parking lots. The gates and the rock wall. We installed 15 trash can pedestals. Way stations were installed. At Turner Complex, there were 4 new scoreboards that were donated by the LCYLA. The concrete walkways and sidewalks were replaced. New chain link installed around the Geico field, and the stadium light project with wireless routers. And there's the pictures of all those projects that were completed out there. The projects completed at the cemetery, we received a new 2025 Maverick 60-inch mower from the Cemetery Association. We completed the reflection area, which was donated by Michael Roden. We replaced the fence by the Porter entrance, and now it's done by staff. We installed new alley chains and reflectors on the east block. We cleaned over 50 headstones throughout the cemetery with D2. We installed new signage on the perpetual care with the city regulations, and we sold 80 sites from July 2025 to June 2026. We conducted 70 burials from July 2025 to June 2026. And there's the pictures from those projects that were completed out there. The calendar events for 2025 to 2026 has started in July. In July, we have the Spring Hoe Festival. In August, we have the Back to School Bash. September, we have Art in the Park, and we begin prep work on the Christmas displays. And Storm's Head is 75-year celebration. October, we have Boots and Blazers. In November, we have the Lampasas AGT Barbecue. In December, we have Carol of Lights and Christmas on the Creek. In March, we have Stars at Night. April, we have Kids Art in the Park and the Riata Roundup. And in May, both pools open for the season, and we have the LTX Barbecue Cook-Off. And then in June, we have the Suffolk Creek Park Tours at Brook Park. Stephen Knowlton, our supervisor, is here. If y'all have any questions for him, he'd be happy to answer y'all. Do y'all have any questions for me? No? Great. Thank y'all very much.
Thank you.
You're doing it next time.
Sure. 3.2, upcoming special events, meetings, possible discussion by council. July the 28th, 2026, at 5:30 p.m. Charter Review Committee. August the 5th, 2026, to 3:30, executive meeting, Syntax Sustainable Communities. On August the 6th, 2026, 6 p.m., Planning and Zoning. August 10th, 2026, at 5:30 p.m., we'll be back in the City Council chambers. And that will lead us over to 4.1, discussion and possible action regarding the purchase of a transformer from Texas Electric Cooperative for the Avenue Pretreatment Facility.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. We're looking to purchase the transformer from Texas Electric Cooperative for $25,674.42 for the pretreatment plant at AFNA. It is the low bid and it is in stock.
Then this will be reimbursed.
100% reimbursed.
I move to approve the bid for Texas Electric Cooperative in the amount of $25,674.42 for the grant.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Discussion and possible action to approve the first reading of an ordinance to modify the City of Lampasas Code of Ordinance, Chapter 82, Utilities, Article 2, Water Division 1, generally, and Division 2, conservation.
Mayor and council, we've got a minor revision here. The ordinance actually kind of, in some manner, conflicted. So we revised Division 1 to change the responsibility of the initial water meter cost to the new connection to the new homeowner itself. And the revision of Division 3 that means the storage capacity and completely removes the Spring Street ground storage tank to reflect accurate tank capacities.
Explain how that works. In layman's terms.
Thought that was pretty lame.
No, understand that clearly.
What part of that?
All of it.
Okay, so the revision change on the meter cost, it's just putting the cost of that water meter onto the homeowner that's building the home.
Okay,
The,
so the cost of the water meter goes to the homeowner.
yes, and then after that, the
The
responsibility,
additional water meter.
yes.
Yeah.
After that, it's on the city. If it fails, it needs to replace, city picks up the cost. The homeowner only has to pick it up on the initial time.
Cool.
The ordinance itself revolving around conservation and storage tank capacities, since this last ordinance has been revised, we've actually taken the Spring Street ground storage tank out of service. Therefore, there's no need for it to list as providing storage to the city of Lampasas. And furthermore, two of the capacities that were listed were incorrect, so just fixed them.
How did we do water meters previously to this?
Well, the ordinance kind of conflicted itself three ways. One way said the 3/4 inch meter was free, and then in two other sections, it actually referenced two different numbers. So we omitted the section that mentioned that it was free and just said the initial cost of the water main will be on the homeowner. After that, it will be on the city, and the fee schedule reflects an accurate amount.
So this is doing a very good job of cleaning up.
Yes.
Thank you.
How long has it been since that ordinance has been changed?
Actually, this one, in terms of the conservation side of the ordinance, I think it was touched around 2019, I believe.
Okay.
So,
7 years.
just most of them probably the 90s.
Yeah.
This one's fairly recent.
So currently, homeowners get a free water meter.
Currently, they've been charged the water meter because it's in the fee schedule to be charged. The ordinance for responsibility of the water meter conflicted with the fee schedule in itself. That's what we're running into. There's just some conflicts there. We're updating numbers every year. In my opinion, we're just not taking the time to go through the verbiage and make sure it's accurate. So that's what we're doing today.
So I'm understanding this right. The fee schedule, the way it stands, when somebody goes into the home, the homeowner pays for the water meter.
Yes.
But the ordinance says the water meter is free.
Right.
So there's
It conflicts. just conflicts each other. There's a handful of things that we're noticing as we go through them that are conflicting, so we're just changing them while we're there.
Is that typical for customers that pay for water meters?
I would say yes. I mean, it can vary depending on the city. I think ultimately some places may say they're not charging for the water meter, but it's probably the tap fee itself. So I think it's more so correct just to outline exactly what your customers are paying for. And the service fees, you call it tap a tap. Don't include the meter in the tap. Call it the meter fee. Call it tap a tap fee. So.
We've been charging for the meter for our water tap since at least I started. So he's just cleaning up the ordinance with conflicting information.
How many meters you put in last year?
Well, I haven't put in any, typically staying in lines. How many are we putting in? How many new connections do we have between year to year? I don't have that number off the top of my head. City Manager, do you know about how many connections in excess that we've had over the last year?
Our number of new meters is fairly small. It ebbs and flows, but we don't see a lot of new water customers from month to month.
Questions?
Does the customer ever have a say in what type of water meter, since we're paying for it, do we have a say in what type of water meter we use?
No, not to any real degree, to be honest with you, no. In the scenario where we're in today, could they, possibly, as we transition to a smart meter, where we're looking at utilizing some sort of RF network, potentially to read the meters, that meter would have to be compatible with that system. The meter would have to be compatible with any reading software that we're currently utilizing. So to give the homeowner control over the meter would kind of be counterproductive with the current software we're utilizing, potentially. So no, and I wouldn't say it would be typical practice either.
Because the city's gonna maintain it.
Right, the city wants to maintain the meter that they want to maintain in the long run. So we years ago we used a Badger meter, today we use a Neptune meter. The software is specific to Neptune meters. As we transition to a smart meter, the network that we utilize to pick up the meters is going to be specific to Neptune meters and possibly our electric smart meters, which is why we're going to be sticking with a Neptune meter. It just makes more sense in the long run.
So I'm paying for a meter so the city can accurately sell me water.
That is correct. But we'll replace it if it fails.
Actually, it's a keyword.
Yes.
Well, I'm going to approve. Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Thank you.
4.3, discussion and possible action on a sponsorship agreement for the Parks Master Plan between the City of Lampasas and JMT Engineering in the amount of $60,000.
Good evening, Mayor, Mayor Pro Tem, and Council. This will be the second Sportsman Solutions contract brought to you. So if you look at a 1,000-foot view, a Parks Master Plan is going to look at what physical assets the department already has, such as sports facilities, pools, anything that's going to essentially bring in money to the city. And then it's going to use data through focus groups, through surveys, through geolocation, any number of different qualitative and quantitative information gathering. And then it's going to tell us what physical assets we need to add now and what physical assets we may need to add down the road to be able to help supplement our citizens in all the offerings that we have, but also, as we touched on briefly at one of the workshops a couple weeks ago, expansion of sports facilities is going to be the biggest piece of this. And so you'll see in the contract with JMT Engineering, they actually have 3 staff members here this evening, if you have any questions for them specifically. But this is going to be a mini Parks Master Plan. We can call it a Phase 1 master plan that's going to be focusing on those sports facilities in order to give us a true picture of what expansion looks like for us over the next 10 to 15 years. And this is also going to give us ammunition to turn around and apply for large grant opportunities to supply these additional sports fields or additional amenities that we may want within the city. Again, this has been valuated at $60,000. And this is gonna be a completely in-kind service to the city from JMT Engineering.
Well, the Parks Master Plan, are you gonna get feedback from our community, or are we just gonna let this company go do something?
The plan is for us to collaborate with the community, gather a lot of that data collection from citizens, and even form a staff committee in collaboration with JMT Engineering.
So there'll be a lot of,
Yes.
like, local feedback.
Correct.
What is the relationship between this and a comprehensive plan?
So the comprehensive plan is for the entire city as a whole. I don't know if Aaron wants to speak more on that, but it looks more at the citywide.
Right, so the comp plan is a much broader view. It doesn't necessarily focus directly on parks. This is more of a drill down look into parks, and Texas Parks and Wildlife and their scoring for grants relies on a Parks Master Plan for additional points. It was created in 1999 and I think finalized in 2004. TPWD, if it's over 15 years old, won't even consider it, a Parks Master Plan. So this is literally a document just for parks, where that comp plan is a much wider overview for the city.
So there's nothing in the comp plan about parks.
Not to
It's
this,
not to this
not to
extent.
this degree.
And as far as the in-kind, what do y'all want for the in-kind?
And so staff will
I mean, we're talking 10, 15 years, is what it says here, so.
Staff will discuss amongst JMT Engineering and ourselves if they may want to put a banner on a sports field. But right now, the overall scope is they want their name all over the master plan, essentially. If they want to turn around and pitch this proposal to another city, they will use ours as an example of, look at what we can do for small city, look at what we can do on a budget. When you're looking at large scale master plans, they can run in the ballpark of $200,000 plus. And so you can really look at this as, again, phased planning or a mini master plan, but at the same time, we're getting a very, very large service at no cost to the city.
Ms. Dickerson, was the Parks Master Plan, was it a CIP item?
Yes, it has been for
So
some
this
years.
is something that we've been needing done anyways, and basically, by allowing them to do this, then we're just giving them naming rights of the plan.
Correct.
Okay.
And it's just a plan, not anything else.
There is-
We would need an outline, like, what, they've gotta get some, for giving us $60,000 worth of stuff for free. They obviously need something, so
The
what
co-
is that?
So can I just, for example, we have researched other cities' parks master plans. So when we do, we're pulling up their plan, and their engineering firm's logo is on that plan. So when we think to go out for RFPs for that plan of our own, we're gonna make sure that we hit that company. This is, and I'm not saying this is the only reason they're doing it, but it's great exposure for them, especially if they're offering something that's smaller scale than those $200,000 plans. They're, hey, smaller city, look what we can do on a good affordable budget for you. So it's helping the city out, but it's good exposure for them as well.
So
Because we do reference a lot of other municipalities' plans when we're looking
No,
at.
I totally get it, but that's just what I was trying to clarify, is what are they getting for this free plan?
Would it be fair to say to the city of Lampasas, having a Parks Master Plan gives us a little bit more credibility in writing grants and that type of thing?
Absolutely. If you look down the road 10 years from now, say we wanted our Parks and Recreation Department to become an accredited Parks and Recreation Department across the entire country, requirement number one is have a current Parks Master Plan. It is almost single-handedly one of the most important documents you have to have as a Parks and Recreation Department, other than making sure your people get paid and making sure everybody's safe.
So as soon as this is done, we can start writing some grants, or looking for some grants.
Yes, sir. So I brought some Texas Parks and Wildlife grants to y'all's attention about this time last year. Unfortunately, we didn't get those, and we were specifically cited for not having a current master plan. We were scored high in other categories, but the weight of that master plan is so significant you can't compete with anywhere else. And comparable cities such as Gatesville, and Gatesville's what I'm thinking of off the top of my head, received that exact grant, almost the exact same ask from Texas Parks and Wildlife, but they had a parks master plan, and we did not.
I make a motion to approve the sponsorship agreement between the city of Lampasas and JMT Engineering in the amount of $60,000 of in-kind services.
I have just one more question, if I could. This mini master plan affects two parts.
Correct. Correct.
So when we talk about using this as a basis to go up for grants, et cetera, how is that limitation of two parts?
The majority of our expansion right now, and we've talked about it multiple times, is we don't have enough ball fields. And so we will be able, these are, if we identify in order of importance to get master planning done on parks, sports facilities, these two are at the very top. Now, we may turn around, we were having this conversation earlier of if this is a huge success and, we receive, an abundance of sponsorship money down the road, for example, just hypotheticals, that we could turn around and say, okay, let's do the next 3 parks on our list, or let's do the next 4 parks on our list.
This would be a basis.
Correct. This would be our baseline.
So this is only sports, because I know that Lampasas just applied for a LCRA grant to help in Campbell Park.
Correct. So the master plan would not necessarily hurt or help a nonprofit. It's almost strictly for municipal use.
What about any percentage that has any paid sportsman solutions on it?
It will be $15,000 will go to Sportsman Solutions, and with the oil states approval from last month, we still have that pot of money we can pull from. But again, we don't have to pay Sportsman Solutions until we receive the Parks Master Plan in hand, and that will be almost a year from now. And so if we start tomorrow, there's a quarter by quarter breakdown in your packet. We'll still be a year out from having to provide that cut essentially for the cut of the 60, yes.
And is it 25%?
Correct, so 15,000. And again,
If we approve this tonight, and you start today or tomorrow, how long does it take to get a master plan put together?
we would confidently have it in hand within 1 year, but it would look closer to 9 months.
Okay.
And that's, again, starting cold turkey tomorrow, for example.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? All in favor?
With this, are we doing the volunteering? Are they volunteering themselves tonight? No, okay.
Well, you can't really take action on it, but we will need a council representative to sit on the committee for the Parks Master Plan. So you don't have to,
So that'll make more another agenda.
and someone just wants to volunteer for it and not get voted for it.
It would consist of about 3 in-person meetings and 3 virtual meetings over the next 4 quarters.
Thank you. 4.4, discussion and possible action regarding awarding a bid to Texair in the amount of $8,850 for an HVAC replacement at City Hall. Your Honor, there.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. You're not wrong. It's very hot in our conference room. The unit that services the main conference room, break room, and 2 offices at City Hall has gone out completely. About 78 degrees in there for most of the meetings that we have in there. So we received 3 quotes for replacement, 1 from All Seasons, 1 from Miller's, and 1 from Texair. Texair came in at low bid for $8,850.
How does Fund 5405 get replenished?
Just with the budget each year,
So each budget year,
there's money in there for building and grounds maintenance.
I'll make a motion to approve awarding a bid to Texair in the amount of $8,850 for an HVAC replacement at City Hall.
Second.
And what type of unit is this?
It is a gas, hold on, it's a Goodman, gas unit, that's what I was explained, but I don't know the details.
I don't know the tonnage or anything.
It's a 5 ton.
1-year warranty, and I did reach out to them to request to see if they wanted to change that to a 2-year warranty to be more competitive, and they declined.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, we have a motion. Give a second.
Second.
Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
4.5, discussion and possible action regarding the award of bid for Hancock Park Golf Course Hole Number 2, Drain Replacement Project, DR 48799618843 to Greenscape 6 LLC in the amount of $288,655.98.
Mayor and council, before I dive into this topic, I'm gonna throw him in the hot seat a little bit. I'd like to introduce Sean McNeely. He's our new golf course superintendent. He started with the city of Lampasas today, so if you can give him a little wave, Sean, so know who you are. And we're excited to have him here with us. As you guys are familiar, hole number 2 has been unusable since July 2025, washed out during the flooding. We were set back a little bit earlier this year with government shutdown, so we were finally able to get bids out. We did receive multiple bids for replacements of green number 2. The low bid came in at $288,655.98. It's a little bit higher than we were anticipating, but after speaking with FEMA, based on how we had budgeted for the projects, some other projects that are ending up not going through, this coming in a little bit higher than we anticipated. We don't expect any issues with the 75% reimbursement, and we know we have enough money earmarked in our December budget amendments to cover our portion of this awaiting reimbursement from FEMA.
What did FEMA pay out on this?
They will reimburse us 75%.
Oh, geez.
I have a question. On the alternative, granted that is considerably more, but raising the green and surrounding area high enough to avoid potential flooding in the future, have we any thought towards that improvement long term?
It would be ideal. It's not going to be eligible for FEMA reimbursement, so that cost will be entirely on the city.
That is something that we would consider in the future.
It will require the green to be, I think it's all now or just the replacement. I could be wrong. I've not ever redone the green before, but I think if we don't make that decision now, you're talking a whole new construction process in the future to raise that.
I think redoing the green to raise it and lose 75% of fixing this, as long as it's been out, would kind of make sense. Just because of the cost. Because of the cost to redo the green, I think we need to take the FEMA money and do it the way it was. Because it's not necessarily gonna get wiped out every single time it floods.
My concern is, do we have a base elevation for that green? Do you know where it was?
I assume we do. I can't speak to
Those
that.
numbers were taken by FEMA on their initial visit.
I'm just saying it was washed out, so you couldn't get a base elevation. So how are you gonna do it unless the green was there? Good luck. So,
You have a solution for that?
no, I don't, that's my problem. And so I think raising the green is a great idea. But
What's Mr. Sean's opinion on that? He's gonna be out there in the van. I don't know if you looked at it.
We really put
Because that's your problem now, which is kind of our problem to help you get it fixed.
Well, good question. I mean, I went out and looked at it for the first time today, and actually went over there, but, there's definitely some issues. I mean, I've got some ideas. I don't know if I want to pull them up right here, right now on the spot, but, I really haven't got to see the bid form of what they're actually doing to it, but that would be a little bit of a concern of kind of what he's talking about, where was that water at? Where are we gonna start at? If it happens again, is it repairable? That would be my question.
I think the closest thing we can get to the base elevation would be where the bridge is. That would be
we did not go back and replace it, assuming that the numbers are right on there.
Yeah.
You're talking about roughly $170,000 or so.
Yeah.
That we would have to pay on top.
Yeah.
I don't think it's
The total bid, the total alternate bid is $399,000.
even since we, if it washes out again, then maybe we're in a different financial state to discuss that, but it seems insane.
I think we're in our best interest to take what you want to give us. I mean, I just have to throw the devil's advocate questions out there, because that's the job.
So our next item is 4.6. How does the funding correlate with 4.6?
That funding is separate than 4.6.
Completely separate.
Separate projects. And I do think, because I think what we've talked about is upgrading that bridge, and potentially not getting FEMA reimbursement for that, so I think we have to pick our battles between these two.
I make a motion to award the bid for Hancock Park Golf Course to Green Replacement. Project DR 4879.961843 Greenscapes 6 LLC with lowest bid at $288,655.98 from bid tabulation that took place on open bid at 2 p.m. June 30th, 2021.
Second.
And then I have one quick question. How many, I know that the bridge has washed out like 3 times. How many times has this bridge washed out?
I don't have an exact number on that.
Two.
Prideful.
That's the second time.
The last, did it wash out just the last 2 times? Or the time back in '07 when they took the big wooden bridge and then this time?
I think it was 7 was the last time, yeah. Did we get FEMA money on that time? Do you know if we got FEMA money the last time it washed out?
I don't know that we got FEMA money for that. I know we did receive flood money in 2007, and I believe there was some allocated to the golf course, yes, but I don't have that exact number now.
All right, we have a motion, we have a second. Any other comments, questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Discussion and possible action regarding professional civil engineer service agreement with Canberg and Polk Incorporated, Hancock Park Golf Course, hole number 6, golf cart and equipment bridge.
Mayor and council, just a reminder that we had released an RFQ for engineers for the golf course bridge earlier this year. We didn't receive any responses at that time. Prior to us releasing this RFQ, we had come to council and asked maybe to narrow down the scope a little bit. Are we looking at a wooden bridge, a metal bridge, some other sort of water crossing? We did not narrow down the scope. So we re-released our RFQ for engineers. We received 2 responses to that. They were then scored by staff, and I'm sorry, I lost their name. Schomburg and Polk, SPI, was the high score on that. We're not actually having you approve as a contract tonight, but it's reaffirming staff scoring that they will be selected. And I would like to point out, I had a question asked earlier. So the state views engineers differently than they do other entities that have to participate in competitive bidding. So just so you're aware, from state procurement, cities are prohibited from using competitive bidding procedures to obtain the services of engineers. There's other qualifiers in there. Instead, for contracts involving engineering, a city must first select the most highly qualified provider and then attempt to negotiate a fair and reasonable price. If the city is unable to negotiate a contract with the most highly qualified provider, the city must formally end negotiations with that provider, and then we move on to the next one, then the next one, until we get to a price that we're okay with. So for whatever reason the state exempts them from competitive bidding, it's based on qualifications rather than low price.
So are you telling us they weren't the cheapest?
We don't know that, because there's nothing that involves pricing here. We did meet them on site last week and explained to them, they've worked on FEMA projects before, so they're familiar. They did recommend a steel girder bridge rather than, we talked about maybe culverts and a low water crossing because that creek is wider. They didn't think it would be very attractive with the culverts there. It would take several more culverts than maybe some other spots on the course did. So they did recommend steel girder. There is a chance, this is where it gets a little tricky. If we have them engineer both a wooden bridge and a metal bridge, and they prove to FEMA that this mitigates future disaster by having a steel structure there rather than wooden, it is possible that it will still qualify for the FEMA reimbursement.
So we're gambling, if they can prove that.
We are gambling. I have a little plan in my mind. If for some reason FEMA doesn't reimburse us for this, I haven't talked to the EDC board about this, so they may smack me next time they see me. But in 2020, the city council helped EDC out quite a lot with $1 million investment in the business park. And we know that the golf course spurs quite a bit of economic development in our community. People come here and spend the night, they come here and buy food, they come here and buy gas, they spend money here. So I think it's fair, and it is a qualifying project to potentially ask the EDC to cost participate in this bridge if it seems like it's a little bit out of our grasp entirely.
Do we still have a donor that's talking with us about?
He needs to see the engineered plans first.
Do we have a timeline on the engineering, when they will be able to look at it?
I do not have an exact timeline. I would imagine the engineering plans could be completed in 3 to 4 months, and then we can get an engineer's estimate of what it will cost.
Well, I move to award professional civil engineering service agreement with Schaumburg and Volk for Hancock Park Golf Course Hole number 6.
This doesn't include, so does that include a cost for the engineering services?
Correct. We're selecting them based on qualifications in accordance with state law.
Okay.
And then,
So
and then
if
the
they
city
come back and
negotiates.
tell us $20 million, we can say flat that.
It won't be 20 million. We did ask them to ballpark some pricing for us. If we're looking at ultimately a $300,000 structure, the engineering will be between $50,000 and $80,000. If we're looking at a $750,000 structure, it's $100,000. Roughly, that's best guess estimates. That's not. And again, state law says that if we can't get to an agreement on a price on their contract, we push them to the side and pick the next one.
Well, I think it's worth the gamble, especially if they can potentially get FEMA to pay.
They are very familiar with FEMA projects.
So, I mean, if they can prove that this is gonna help us, then I think this is gamble.
So we have a motion on that one?
And a second.
And we have a second. Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
4.7, discussion and possible action regarding the renewal of the city's dental and vision insurance coverage for city employees with principal for October the 1st, 2026 to September the 30th, 2027, including authorizing the city manager to execute related documents.
Mayor and council, we've received our renewals for both vision and dental. They're both experiencing the same trend as our health insurance, slight increases this year. Sorry. The dental rate is anticipated to increase 4.5%. That's a total for all employees of $3,061 for the year. That's not per employee, that's for all employees. Vision will increase $902 for the year. Again, that's for all employees, not individual employees. Provides the same level of benefit that employees have this current year.
We have this been for quite a few years.
Yes.
And the committee appreciates the coverage.
Yes.
Make a motion to approve the renewal rates and authorize the city manager to copy documents.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
4.8, discussion and possible action regarding the first reading of ordinance amending the city of Lampasas Code of Ordinance regarding appointment of alternate members for for all municipal boards, commissions, and committees.
Mayor and council, we have run into a problem with a few of our boards where we are not able to establish a quorum and our meetings are having to be canceled. This particularly comes into a problem with our planning and zoning committee since we meet only once a month. If there's a quorum not able to be established, we are required to reschedule that for the next month, resend out letters, which cost postage, and repost packets, repost in the newspaper. Overall, that's probably a loss for the city of about $500, $600. JC recommended that we do a blanket ordinance that allows for alternates on all committees or boards if you choose to. Each one of them for appointment would come back to you. So I would come back essentially and bring you appointments for the planning and zoning committee as an alternate. Or if there was another board that we had established and they needed an alternate, they could establish one as well.
So would the alternates be expected to attend all the meetings just in case there's not a quorum?
So this is completely up to you. JC actually recommended that we talk about this. You can do it two ways. You can require that the alternates attend every meeting. I mean, basically have the same rules as every actual board member. So they would attend meetings and they would only fill in the need to establish a quorum, which means they would only have a vote if they were needed to establish a quorum. Otherwise, they are essentially an audience member that is just up to date on what is happening with the committee or the board. You can also do it in a way where they don't have to attend any meeting until you have to call upon them, but you do run into the issue of them not knowing, what's passed in the past, or what you've been talking about, or it's a little different for P&Z because obviously there are different cases every time, but there are some boards that continuously talk about the same things. So
Which boards don't have alternates right now? Because I thought a lot of them did.
a lot of them do. The planning commission does not. The airport board does. I need to double check on the construction board. I think it does. The zoning board does. Parks board does not.
That's correct.
Parks board does not. We did establish them for the charter review committee, so it's really kind of just hit or miss on some that are established and some that are not. I really looked into it mainly because planning and zoning has a lot of state law that affects it, but there's nothing in state law that says you can't have an alternate. So that's really where this sparked from.
My opinion is that alternates need to be here. So they know what's going on.
If we're gonna do alternates, I agree.
I'm curious, years ago, when I was on EDC, we had a rule that if you missed 3 meetings in a row, you're done.
We did build that into
Still
the
have that?
bylaws, that is correct. It's not I need to double check again. We did change the bylaws in the past year or so.
Well, that's my concern, is if like we have somebody that continuously meets, or is missing meetings, they don't need to be on the board.
We don't do what?
They don't need to be on the board.
I don't disagree with you, however, we don't have an ordinance that establishes that currently. The EDC is a bit different because they do have bylaws, but most boards don't. I can look into that if that's something that you'd like me to entertain, but specifically for.
I think if you're gonna be on a board, I think you made a commitment, just like we've all made a commitment.
So the ordinance that's in front of us is the alternatives as we are discussing today.
Yes, ma'am. And the way that this is written currently is that they are required to be at all meetings.
I make a motion to approve the first reading of an ordinance amending the city Lampasas code of ordinances regarding appointment of alternate members for all municipal boards, commissions, and committees.
Second.
Any other discussion? All in favor? Four point nine, discussion and possible action regarding the first reading of the ordinance amending the city of Lampasas code of ordinance regarding the adoption of policy providing for a reasonable limit on the amount of time to be spent without charge or repeat public information requesters as per Texas government code.
Mayor and council, this was recommended from JC for us to put in front of you. We are getting a lot of multiple open records requests from the same person. A lot of times we'll get 4 or 5 in the same day sent to different staff members. the state changed the TPIA regulations to allow for us to start charging for computer time. There's a little bit of calculation on the bottom of the summary, which is long, I do apologize. But it shows you just that 20 seconds on the computer is $3.33 at an open records request. So we essentially would be giving a cost estimate to every open records request that comes through before we issue the documents they're requesting, letting them know how much the cost will be to fulfill their open records request.
And this is for anybody, correct, that requests an open
Yes.
record.
Now, if it's something that we have easy access to and I could just send you an email with the document you're asking for, we wouldn't necessarily send a cost estimate letter. But to something that's going to take staff considerable amount of time, we would send them a cost estimate letter. It would be required to be paid partially or in full before we would do the work to fulfill that open records request.
It's also, I just want to point out that this ordinance allows us to limit the amount of time that staff has to use for what's called vexatious requesters, which is repeatedly requesting the same or similar information. And it's something that the state has allowed governmental bodies to put in place that limits the number of hours for a single requester to 15 hours a month or 36 cumulative hours per year. And we can get there very quickly with some of these open records requests.
So it's kind of like you're putting in an anti-filibuster, for not lack of a better example.
We do, staff wears a lot of hats, and we spend collectively a significant amount of time on open records requests.
We have been in the past week trying to kind of create a better process for open records requests. I am the records keeper for the city, so they should funnel through me, but they haven't really been doing that. A lot of times they're sent, you guys have received them. They'll go to the police department specifically, they'll go to municipal court, parks will receive them. So we need to make sure that they're all being handled in accordance with state law. And so this kind of helps us narrow down, if we're required to send them some sort of a cost estimate before the work is done, it helps funnel it down to one person looking at it, maintaining, and then you can go to each individual department to fulfill the open records request at that point.
So we're still taking care of the citizen.
Absolutely.
With a complaint or something fishy out there, or whatever. And also taking care of the citizens again by not spending a bunch of taxpayers' money for somebody doing something stupid out there.
There are some weeks where you could have one staff member that does nothing but fulfill open records requests due to the number that are coming in currently.
Okay.
Now, in the past, you could go maybe 2 or 3 weeks and get maybe 3 open records requests, but in today's age, that's not how it's going.
I don't think people realize how much work there is to gather information, taking things, sort it out, and
A lot of times you have to seek an opinion from the Attorney General as well, which is a process, and it goes through our city attorney, so we're paying her for some work. So it truly is a process from start to finish, so we're just trying to streamline this a little bit.
All right, want to get a motion?
I move to approve the first reading of ordinance amending City of Lampasas Code ordinance regarding the adoption of a policy providing for a reasonable limit on the amount of time to be spent without charge for repeat public information requests.
Second.
Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
410, discussion and acceptance of the Lampasas County Chamber of Commerce and Business Center quarterly report.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Before we go into the report and I take questions, there are a couple of amendments, just because of minutes. I wasn't able to get the revised back into the packet. So the first amendment on my budget is it actually is Q3. It says Q2, but it's Q3, just so everybody knows. And then in line item G, tourism conferences, and I, annual visitor center association dues. Those actually got carried over to show a zero balance, and in fact, they have 2 different balances, which makes the total balance, to be used in Q4, a different number. So I'll go over the first one, G, tourism conferences. That number is $1,676.03. The next line item is I. That number is $750, which brings the balance down to $44,262.75. So those are just a couple of updates for the minutes. I also wanted to let everyone know, we've been doing a lot of work. We listened based on the last council meeting. So my treasurer is here with me this evening, Jennifer White. Very glad that she came to be at a council meeting. She hasn't been in one in a long time. So we've been working really, really hard on the budget. Aaron, I'll have that to you by this week. So that's wonderful. And we have also done a lot of research in regards to different marketing campaigns. So as I mentioned before, when we were doing, when I was submitting my reports, it was really, really important to break down how we were utilizing that $22,000 fund, $22,500 to be exact. And we have entered into an agreement with a couple of different marketing agencies, one for print and one for digital. I will have those explanations to you by the end of Q4, or when I come for my Q4 reports. They're very elaborate. They go into all the different platforms. They go into digital, print, analytics, ROI, all of those things, which is very exciting for us. So the number that you see here for the Q3 in the Lampasas promotions, it shows 16,503.71. We are on track and estimated to use anywhere between 6,000 to 12,000 of that completing contracts by the end of the fiscal year. And again, I will have all of that information to you. I actually have it today, but I don't have copies. So, unfortunately. Are there any questions?
Well, sorry, I'm sorry, I gotta stop. Go back to the numbers that you were talking about, because I have no idea what page you're on.
Sorry, I'm on my budget, the yellow highlighted, the actual report, the annual report.
I'm looking at a spreadsheet.
I think it's 98 or 99.
Oh, so sorry. It's numbered, and I don't have the packet. Next one. Okay, it's 99.
There, can you start over on?
Yeah, I sure can.
Talk about tourism,
So,
G.
the code in a line item for tourism conferences, G, that actually is $1,676.03. That's the balance to be used by Q4. And then, if it's used, and then I right below it, that number is $750.
When we were saying we're at zero on that last column, that's what was no change.
It wasn't used in Q3, so it's the balance.
Gotcha.
Yeah, which brings the balance at the bottom, which is different than what you have. So-
It didn't carry over to the.
Correct.
column.
Correct.
Got it.
Yeah, those are the only two. And then in the Lampasas promotions, as I was mentioning, that's the homework that we've been doing and entering into agreements for digital and print marketing for tourism. And we actually have 4 videos. We have 3 48-second videos that are narrated. They put Lampasas in such a beautiful light. I'm so excited. And then we have a 2-minute 48-second one. And that obviously is a little bit more extensive. But these can be used on the Google platform, TripAdvisor, Yelp, Google Maps, Apple Maps, and all of our email marketing, our signatures. It's going to be on YouTube, so really, really excited. And they've actually also created a website for us, and so we are rebranding to Visit Lampasas.
Now, who is it, it's that company that's doing the.
It's American Marketing and Publishing. And they actually have a lot of different clients in Lampasas. They've never, which I was really excited about Bailey's report, in that the agency that's doing their engineering for their master plan, we're going to be kind of used as an example in the same way. They've never done visitor centers or tourism before. They usually do just service businesses or retail to drive tourism and commerce. And so they are actually working with us to create this website, which will then in turn go on to all those different platforms. It'll increase our SEO, which is search engine optimization. So lots of good stuff, lots of good stuff. So does anybody have any questions about my Q3 report?
Well, I move to approve your Q3 report.
Any discussion, questions? All in favor?
Thank you so much.
Get a motion to adjourn into executive session.
So moved. Second.
All in favor? The city council of the city of Lampasas will close executive session pursuant to Section Government Code, Chapter 551, as follows. Section 551.087, economic development. Number 1, to evaluate, to receive and evaluate financial information received from a business, to discuss the same and or to deliberate regarding commercial or financial information the city has received from a business that the city seeks to have locate, stay, or expand near the city, with which the city is conducting economic development negotiations and or to deliberate and offer any financial or other incentives to any business prospect as described above. Scott Holmes. Section 551, personnel matters, to deliberate the employment, evaluation, reassignment duties, or discipline of a public officer or employee, city manager, and other personnel matters as allowed by the Texas Government Code, Chapter 551. Section 551.071, consultation with an attorney, receive advice of legal counsel for the city concerning pending contemplated litigation, settlement offers, or any matter in which the duty of legal counsel to the city council to advise the city governing body regarding such matters. Pursuant to the state laws, including the Texas disciplinary rules, professional conduct of the state bar of Texas in compliance with the Texas Open Meetings Act by personnel or telephone participation. Adjourn to executive session and reconvene in regular session. All right, nothing coming out of executive session tonight, and we get a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
All